filming these, and I hope that you guys like them as well. Of course, we are back again with the Book of 10,000 Incredible Facts, which has facts about a bunch of different, really random categories, and we are going to keep chugging through this book today. You will continue seeing it until I am done with it and have read every fact in it. So, yeah, I hope you like it. But yeah, let's get started. So, the first main category is food and drink, but the specific category we are going to be doing today is revolting food facts. So I think it's like facts about really gross foods, which should be fun. So let's get started. Baby mice wine, which is made by preserving newborn mice in a bottle of rice wine, is a traditional health tonic from Korea, said to aid the rejuvenation of one's vital organs. Ever get a hankering for soft-boiled duck embryos? Balut are duck eggs that have been incubated for 15 to 20 days. A duckling takes 28 days to hatch, and then they are boiled. The egg is then consumed, both the runny yolk and the beaky, feathery, veiny duck fetus. Balut are eaten in the Philippines, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Black pudding eaten in Britain and Ireland is congealed pig blood that's been cooked with oatmeal and formed into a small disc. It tastes like a thick, rich beef pound cake. The Sardinian delicacy casu marzu is a hard sheep's milk cheese infested with Piophila casei, the cheese fly. The larvae produce enzymes that break down the cheese into a tangy goo, which Sardinians dive into and enjoy, larvae and all. Surströmming, primarily a seasonal dish in northern Sweden, is rotten fermented herring. Even the Swedes rarely open a can of it indoors. History shows that people will make alcohol from any ingredients available. This includes bananas mashed with one's bare feet and buried in a cask. The result is pombe, an East African form of beer. Cobra heart delivers precisely what it promises, a beating cobra heart, sometimes accompanied by a cobra kidney and chased by a slug of cobra blood. Preparations of the Vietnamese delicacy involve a large blade and a live cobra. Escamoles are the eggs or larvae of the giant venomous black Leometapum ant. This savory Mexican chow has the consistency of cottage cheese and a surprisingly buttery and nutty flavor. The key ingredient of bird's nest soup is the saliva-rich nest of the cave swiftlet, a swallow that lives on cave walls in Southeast Asia. Haukarl, an Icelandic dish dating back to the Vikings, is putrefied shark meat. I remember I used that in my national dish of every country video, so I looked up how to pronounce it. It looks like Haukarl, but I feel like it was different than that, so I tried to pronounce it the way I remembered. Traditionally, it has been prepared by burying a side of shark in gravel for 3 months or more. Nowadays, it might be boiled in several changes of water or soaked in a large vat filled with brine and then cured in the open air for 2 months. This is done to purge the shark meat of urine and trimethylamine oxide. is a traditional Scandinavian dish made by steeping pieces of cod in a lye solution. The result is translucent and gelatinous, stinks to high heaven, and corrodes metal kitchenware. Enjoy lutefisk covered with pork drippings, white sauce, or melted butter, with potatoes and Norwegian flatbread on the side. Kava is the social lubricant of many island nations. Take a pepper shrub root and get someone to chew or grind it into a pulp. Mix with water and enjoy. Pacha is a sheep's head stewed, boiled, or otherwise slow cooked for 5 to 6 hours together with the sheep's intestines, stomach, and feet. Vegemite, made from leftover brewer's yeast extract, looks like chocolate spread, smells like B vitamins, and tastes overwhelmingly salty. Australians love Vegemite on sandwiches or baked in meatloaf. When you're a Mongolian nomad and there are no taverns, you're happy to settle for fermented mare's milk. It takes only a couple of days to ferment and turns out lightly carbonated. Spiders are popular fare in parts of Cambodia, especially in the town of Skuon. Tarantulas are sold on the streets and are said to be very good fried with salt, pepper, and garlic. If you find yourself hungry as you hustle through London, grab a jellied eel from a street vendor. It tastes like pickled herring with a note of vinegar, salt, and pimento, all packed in gelatin. Drink enough scotch and you'll eventually get so hungry you'll eat haggis, sheep innards mixed with oatmeal and boiled in the sheep's stomach. Some tribespeople in Papua New Guinea consider sago beetle grubs delicious. A specialty of Newfoundland, seal flipper pie is made from the chewy cartilage-rich flippers of seals, usually cooked in fatback with root vegetables and sealed in a flaky pastry crust or topped with dumplings. Eating properly prepared pufferfish can result in sudden death. Improperly prepared pufferfish. As such, Japan requires extensive training and apprenticeship, as well as special licensing for the chefs preparing this highly sought-after delicacy. Menudo is basically cow stomach soup. If you can tolerate the slimy, rubbery tripe chunks, the soup itself tastes fine. It's often served in Mexico for breakfast to cure a hangover. I think I would probably Amphibians live both on land and in the water. Amphibian comes from a Greek term meaning double life. Amphibians include frogs and toads, salamanders and newts, and worm-like caecilians. The largest caecilians can grow more than 5 feet in length. Axolotls are rare amphibians that live in Central American lakes. All amphibians have gills, some only as larvae and others for their entire lives. The largest amphibian in the world is the Chinese giant salamander, which can grow up to 6 feet long. The world's smallest amphibian is a frog from Papua New Guinea, measuring just 0.3 inches in length. It's probably like very small. Amphibians are found everywhere in the world except Antarctica. Some salamanders can regrow entire limbs and regenerate parts of major organs. At about 4 weeks old, tadpoles get a bunch of very tiny teeth, which help them turn their food into mushy, oxygenated particles. Frogs swallow their food whole. The size of what they can eat is determined by the size of their mouth and their stomach. While swallowing, a frog's eyeballs retreat into its head, applying pressure that helps push food down its throat. Some frogs glow after eating fireflies. When frogs aren't near water, they will often secrete mucus to keep their skin moist. Frogs typically eat their old skin once it has been shed. The Goliath frog of West Africa is the largest frog in the world. When fully stretched out, it is often more than 2.5 feet long, which would be like almost a meter. A small blind cave salamander called the olm, also called the human fish for its human-like skin tone, is the world's longest living amphibian. It can live up to 100 years. A frog's ear is connected to its lungs. When a frog's eardrum vibrates, its lungs do too. The special pressure system keeps frogs from hurting themselves when they blast loud mating calls. Wood frogs can continuously freeze and thaw throughout the winter in order to hibernate under surface leaves. Just one golden poison frog has enough toxin to kill 10 people. That's pretty deadly. Okay, we are going to move on. Next is facts about planet Earth, and we are going to start with facts about the Giant's Causeway. Giant's Causeway is Northern Ireland's only UNESCO World Heritage Site. Over 40,000 interlocking basalt columns make up this geological formation. The columns of Giant's Causeway typically have 5 to 7 irregular sides. Most are hexagonal in shape. The strange landscape was the result of an ancient volcanic fissure eruption during the Paleogene period. The tallest columns in Giant's Causeway are approximately 39 feet high. The site also notes more mythological origins. Long ago, the Irish giant Fionn mac Cumhaill tore up the Antrim coastline during a battle with Scottish giant Benandonner. As he hurled the rocks into the water, he paved a route over the sea to Scotland. Other popular examples of columnar jointing include Fingal's Cave in Scotland, Columbia River flood basalts in Oregon, Devil Ghost Pile in California and Devil's Tower in Wyoming. German composer Felix Mendelssohn based his 1830 Hebrides overture on the sound of waves flowing into Fingal's Cave. Led Zeppelin's album cover for House of the Holy features Giant's Causeway. Nicknames for several of the formations in this peculiar landscape include the organ pipes, the honeycomb, and the chimneys. Next, we're also going to do weird weather facts, or wild weather facts. All weather occurs within 8 miles of Earth's surface. All snowflakes have 6 sides or points. The world's greatest 24-hour rainfall record was set in January 1966 on the French island of Réunion in the Indian Ocean. A record 71.8 inches of rain fell. Tropical storms rotate clockwise south of the equator and counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. A hurricane is given a rating on the Saffir-Simpson scale based on its sustained wind speed. The enhanced Fujita scale is a system for classifying tornado intensity. Waterspouts are tornado-like rotating columns of air over water. A tropical storm must have winds of 74 miles per hour or greater to be classified as a hurricane. Tornadoes have been reported on all continents except Antarctica. Contrary to popular belief, tornadoes can and do hit downtown areas of major cities. The city center of St. Louis, Missouri has been flattened 4 times since 1871. All tornadoes produce lightning, which is what makes the sound of thunder. Sorry, all thunderstorms, not all tornadoes. All thunderstorms produce lightning, which is what makes the sound of thunder. The world's heaviest hailstones weighed up to 2 pounds each and killed 92 people in Bangladesh on April 14th, 1986. The United States has more tornadoes than any other country. The Great Blizzard of 1888 blanketed some areas of the Atlantic coast with as much as 50 inches of snow. Waterspouts can make sea creatures rain down from the sky. The eye of a hurricane is calm, but the eye wall that surrounds it has the strongest, most violent winds. Snowflakes formed in clouds take about an hour to reach the ground. Hurricanes, tropical cyclones, and typhoons all describe the same type of storm. What they're called depends on where they're from, or where they form. When lightning strikes, the heated air creates a sonic shockwave, which is the sound of thunder. We see lightning before we hear thunder because light travels faster than sound. The top speed of a falling raindrop is 18 miles per hour. Crickets make good thermometers. To get a rough estimate of the temperature, count the number of times a cricket chirps in 15 seconds and add 40. Tornadoes usually spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Did we already have that? I feel like we did. recorded during a tornado that destroyed hundreds of homes. The most active Atlantic hurricane season on record was in 2020. The National Hurricane Center ran out of names and had to use Greek letters for the last several storms. The tri-state tornado lasted 3.5 hours and traveled 219 miles, setting records for both duration and distance traveled. Low barometric pressure generally indicates stormy weather, and high pressure signals calm, sunny skies. The lowest barometric pressure ever recorded was 25.69 inches during Typhoon Tip in 1979. The highest barometric pressure was 32.01 inches, measured in 1968 on a cold New Year's Eve in northern Siberia. A tropical storm officially becomes a hurricane. Oh, we already had this. When winds reach at least 74 miles per hour. Okay. I think that's all of the unique facts. I don't know why there are repeats there. The next category is about history, and we are going to be doing facts about ancient Rome. Ancient Romans ruled over one of the largest and richest empires in history. Rome was founded in the 9th century BC as a small village in central Italy. Over the centuries, it expanded its territory. At its largest, the Roman Empire covered almost 2 million square miles. The Roman Empire was most powerful between the 3rd century BC and the 5th century AD, when the armies conquered most of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. In its early days, Rome was ruled by kings. In 509 BC, the kingdom became a republic, ruled by a council called the Senate. The highest position in the Roman Republic was the consul. There were 2 consuls at the same time to make sure that one didn't become too powerful. Pirates captured a 20-something Julius Caesar at sea. After his release, Caesar raised a fleet, hunted the pirates down, and crucified them all. As its territory grew, army generals threatened to take power away from the Senate. In 45 BC, Julius Caesar took control of Rome and became its dictator. Just a year later, Caesar was assassinated on March 15th. Caesar was stabbed 23 times by a group of senators who believed he was undermining the Republic. Later, his adopted son Augustus became the first emperor of Rome. As a young man, Augustus was known as Octavian. When Julius Caesar was assassinated, Octavian led his armies to victory in the battle for power over Rome. Octavian proclaimed himself first citizen and took the name Augustus. Emperors ruled Rome from 27 BC until the end of the empire. The word emperor comes from the Latin imperator, meaning military commander. Emperor Augustus attempted to reform what he considered loose Roman morals. In a bit of irony, Augustus then had to banish his daughter Julia for committing adultery. Constantine I brought the Roman Empire together again languages, including English, still use the Roman alphabet today. Every male Roman child remained under his father's authority until that father's death. Pater could sentence Philum to death, disinherit him, block him from legal action on his own behalf, even prevent him from borrowing money. The Romans were the first people to use concrete, which allowed them to build massive structures quickly and cheaply. In Rome, if someone got behind on a debt, the creditor might hire a conventium or escort to serenade the deadbeat with ridicule. Roads built by the ancient Romans are still used today. Mark Antony's wife Fulvia was a capable general who led 8 legions in a rebellion against land confiscation, fighting to the bitter end before going into exile. Ancient Romans wore soccus, the predecessors of socks. A 4th century survey of Rome counted more than 45,000 tenements, nearly 1,800 villas, 850 bathhouses, 1,300 swimming pools, and a dozen each of libraries and toilet complexes. The Circus Maximus, a huge stadium built for chariot races, could accommodate over 150,000 spectators. In ancient Rome, urine was as much a commodity as a waste product. The ammonia in pee was useful for bleaching togas and tunics. Interesting. The mad Emperor Caligula led a military expedition to the North Sea, where he ordered his soldiers to gather seashells, then claimed he defeated the ocean. Emperor Caligula planned to promote his horse Incitatus to the rank of consul, the Roman equivalent of prime minister. Caligula was eventually assassinated by his bodyguards. Claudius was partially deaf and walked with a limp due to childhood illness. His family ostracized him and kept him out of power. When Caligula was assassinated, Claudius was one of the few survivors from the emperor's family. His infirmity probably saved him from being seen as a serious threat and therefore murdered. Claudius was named emperor and reigned for 13 years. The Bay of Neapolis, now Naples, was Rome's Padre Island, or Cabo San Lucas. It was where one went for intercourse and intoxication. Nero was a bloodthirsty emperor who had his mother and wife killed. He probably didn't start the Great Fire of Rome, though. Emperor Hadrian realized the Roman Empire was too large to defend and ordered his armies to withdraw to borders that were easier to protect. One of these borders was Hadrian's Wall, a 73-mile line of forts and barriers that separated Roman Britain from the unconquered lands to the north. The fall of the Western Roman Empire in AD 476 is considered the start of the Dark Ages in Europe. The eastern part of the empire remained a power through the Middle Ages until its fall in AD 1453. That was a lot of Roman Empire facts, and I'm very tired. Okay, let's see. Next, it looks like we have sports and culture. So we are going to be doing World Series facts. There aren't that many, so this will be a short one. The modern World Series was first played in 1903. Before 1903, a number of 19th century competitions were held between various leagues. These series were sometimes called predecessors of the Red Sox of the American League beat the Pittsburgh Pirates of the National League. The World Series was not held in 1904 due to a boycott. Other than that, the competition has been held each year except 1994, when there was a players' strike. An earthquake interrupted Game 3 of the 1989 World Series between the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland Athletics. Candlestick Park had to be evacuated and the game postponed. The first trio of brothers ever to win World Series titles were the Molina brothers. Benji, the oldest, and Jose won championships as Los Angeles Angels in 2002, and younger brother Yadier joined the club with the St. Louis Cardinals in 2006. With 18 World Series home runs, Mickey Mantle holds the record for most career home runs in World Series play. He topped Babe Ruth's previous record by 3. Yogi Berra played in the World Series a record 14 times. In 2000, Derek Jeter became the first in Major League history named MVP of both the All-Star Game and World Series in the same year. Shoeless Joe Jackson went 12 for 32 during the 1919 World Series, the one for which he and 7 Chicago White Sox teammates were banned for life for their roles in fixing games. The next category is health and the human body, and we are going to be doing facts about hair. The average human head has 100,000 hair follicles. Each of those follicles is capable of producing 20 individual hairs during a person's lifetime. Hair color helps determine how dense the hair on your head is. Blondes have the densest hair, averaging 146,000 follicles. People with black hair tend to have about 110,000 follicles, and people with brown hair average 100,000 follicles. Redheads have the least dense hair, averaging 86,000 follicles. Each hair grows approximately 5 inches per year. Nearly 80% of people in the United States say they spend more money on hair products than other grooming goods. Despite all the effort we put into coiffing and pampering our locks, the hair we see is biologically dead. Hair is alive only in the roots, which are fed by small blood vessels beneath the skin's surface. Hair cells travel up the shaft and are eventually cut off from the blood supply that is their nourishment. The cells die before being pushed out of the follicle onto the head or back, arm, or anywhere else. Hair is incredibly strong. The average head of hair can support roughly 12 tons of weight, much more than the scalp it's attached to. Hair grows in cycles. During the first phase, hair is actively growing. In the second phase, it rests in the follicle until it is pushed out of the root. Healthy hair grows about 0.39 inch a month. Each hair is completely independent from the others. When a hair falls out, another one may not grow directly in its place. The average person loses between 50 and 100 resting hairs each day. We are born with every follicle will is the fear of darkness. Acrophobia is the fear of heights. Aerophobia is the fear of flying. Agoraphobia is the fear of open spaces or crowds. Ichmophobia is the fear of pointed objects. Ailurophobia is a fear of cats. Electrophobia is a fear of kittens. Oh, chickens. My apologies. Algophobia is a fear of pain. Amaxophobia is a fear of riding in a car. Anthropophobia is the fear of people. Anuptophobia is the fear of staying single. Me. Just kidding. Arachibutyrophobia is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Arachnophobia is the fear of spiders. Astrophobia is the fear of thunder and lightning. Adicophobia is the fear of failure. Autophobia is the fear of being alone. Barophobia is a fear of gravity. Bathmophobia is a fear of stairs. Bibliophobia is a fear of books. Catatrophobia. Catatrophobia is a fear of mirrors. Chronometrophobia is a fear of clocks. Chronophobia is a fear of time or the passage of time. Claustrophobia is a fear of closed spaces. Calorophobia is a fear of clowns. Cynophobia is a fear of dogs. Dystichophobia is a fear of accidents. Emetophobia is a fear of vomiting. Gamophobia is a fear of marriage. Genophobia is a fear of knees. Glossophobia is a fear of public speaking. Hemophobia is a fear of blood. Hippopotamonstrosiquipetaliophobia is a fear of long words. Is that an L? No. Iatrophobia is a fear of doctors. Ichthyophobia is a fear of fish. Kumpunophobia is a fear of clothing buttons. Lochiophobia is a fear of childbirth. Melanophobia is the fear of the color black. Magyarocophobia is a fear of cooking. Mesophobia is a fear of germs. Necrophobia is a fear of death. Nomophobia is the fear of being without your mobile phone. Nosocomophobia is a fear of hospitals. Nyctophobia is a fear of the dark. Ophidiophobia is a fear of snakes. Ornithophobia is a fear of birds. Philomophobia is a fear of kissing. Philophobia is a fear of being in love. Pupophobia is a fear of puppets. Pyrophobia is a fear of fire. Scoptophobia is a fear of being stared at. Trichophobia is a fear of hair. Trypophobia is a fear of small holes. Xanthophobia is a fear of the color yellow. And zooichrophobia is a fear of vacuum cleaners. Very interesting. Okay. Next This is likely the origin of ancient Greek constellations. Ancient constellations were recorded in Greek poet Aratus's Phenomena and Greek astronomer Ptolemy's Almagest. Modern constellations like the Peacock, Phoenix, and Sextant were identified by astronomers of the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries. Your location on Earth determines what constellations you'll be able to see in the night sky, as well as how high they appear above the horizon. Circumpolar constellations are constellations that never set below the horizon as viewed from a particular latitude. Instead, they make a full circle around a celestial pole, like the North Star in the Northern Hemisphere. The time of year also determines what constellations are visible. Stars appear to move west across the sky during the year as the Earth revolves around the Sun. The brightest stars in a constellation are not necessarily the largest. A star's brightness is also dependent on its temperature and distance from Earth. Because each star in a constellation moves independently of one another, all constellations slowly change shape over time. Constellations assist navigators in locating certain stars. This is called celestial navigation. It is especially useful when traveling across the ocean where other landmarks are not visible. NASA astronauts are also trained in celestial navigation as a backup in the event their modern instruments fail. Astronomers drew a boundary around each of the 88 official constellations, dividing the celestial sphere into 88 pieces. Any star inside a constellation boundary is considered part of the constellation, even if it is not actually part of the image. Sorry for my stomach. Constellations are used by astronomers when naming stars and meteor showers. This is helpful when conveying approximate locations, because any given point in the sky lies in one of the modern constellations. Astrology is the belief that the location of celestial objects like stars in constellations can describe a person's character or predict the future. There are 12 astrological constellations of the zodiac, but 13 astronomical zodiac constellations: Capricornus, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpius, Sagittarius, and Ophiuchus. The cycle of the zodiac was used by ancient cultures to determine the time of year. Due to a phenomenon called precession, Earth wobbles on its axis as it rotates. This affects seasonal timing, causing them to shift with respect to zodiac constellations. Cool. Do you all believe in, like, zodiac signs? I don't know. I kinda do, but not that much. Okay, next is, gosh, gotta stretch. Next is about arts and culture. And we are doing facts about Mona Lisa, which is fun because you guys always say I look like Mona Lisa, and I can't argue. Like, no one would ever tell me that in my normal life. Like, I don't look like Mona Lisa normally, but in my thumbnails, I totally do. Like, especially in my, like, personal question thumbnails and stuff, I look a lot like Mona Lisa, so yeah. The Mona Lisa was painted by Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci. The Renaissance genius began the portrait in 1503 when he was about 51 years old. Although since 1797. More than 80% of museum visitors go directly to the Mona Lisa, skipping the Louvre's 6,000 other paintings. I went, but I saw everything else. The subject of the painting is Lisa del Giocondo, an Italian noblewoman and a member of the Ghirardini family. She was the wife of wealthy Florentine silk merchant Francesco del Giocondo. Lisa was Francesco's third wife. She married him when she was 16 and he was 30. Lisa likely sat for the portrait soon after the birth of her third child, when she was about 24. Although Francesco del Giocondo commissioned Da Vinci to paint the Mona Lisa, for some reason Da Vinci did not give it to him. Mona is simply a contraction of Madonna or My Lady in Italian. The title is the equivalent of Madame Lisa in English. While it appears that the Mona Lisa does not have eyelashes or eyebrows, a 2007 study revealed that she originally was painted with them. They gradually disappeared, most likely due to overcleaning. The Mona Lisa is believed to have been painted from 1503 to 1506, but Da Vinci may have continued working on it as late as 1517. When Da Vinci died in 1519, the Mona Lisa was inherited by his student and assistant. King Francis I of France probably bought the Mona Lisa from the assistant, which is how a painting by an Italian artist became the property of France. Over 8 million people visit the Mona Lisa at the Louvre each year. They each spend about 15 seconds looking at her. Studies using X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy have revealed that Da Vinci was constantly testing new methods. He did not always use glaze, for example. While working on the Mona Lisa, he mixed manganese oxide in with his paint. Ongoing studies are sure to reveal even more about Da Vinci's masterful techniques. I didn't know any of that, but that is pretty cool. Let's see. I want to find another category. I think I already did this one. About dancing. I'm pretty sure I already did this one. Let's see. Siam, rare albino elephants were to receive nothing but the best from their owners. Therefore, no one wanted to own one. Touch and go. English ships in the 18th century would often hit bottom in shallow water, only to be released with the next wave. The phrase indicated that they had narrowly averted danger. And the last one is by hook or by crook. This phrase describes a feudal custom that allowed tenants to gather as much wood from the lord's land as they could rake from the underground or pull down from the trees with a crook. Cool. Okay. I don't know what Mighty Mouse is. Who's Mighty Mouse? Is that a show? I was like, is it talking about Mickey Mouse? I don't know. Let's see if there are any more fun ones. Oh, you guys might like these. Star Wars facts. Released in 1977, the first Star Wars movie cost just over $11 million to make, compared to $113 million for Star Wars Episode 3. In the late 1990s, remastering and re-editing Star Wars for its 20th anniversary edition cost nearly as much as it did to make the original movie. The first U.S. theater run for the original Star Wars pulled in $215 million. The first ever Star Wars trailer began showing a full 6 months before the movie came out. Vague taglines such as "The story of a boy, a girl, and a universe," and "A billion years in the making" were meant to build up buzz before the film's debut. The first Star Wars film was originally going to be titled The Star Wars, but George Lucas decided to drop the. The movie's full title, Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, was not used in posters, promotions, or publicity until the film was re-released in 1981. George Lucas was initially set to receive about $165,000 for the making of Star Wars, but when production costs rose, he waived his fee in exchange for 40% of the box office returns. That, combined with a lucrative merchandising deal and his foresight into snagging creative control and full merchandising rights for the sequels, made him millions. Brian De Palma helped pin the words, "It is a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire." The actors who played C-3PO and R2-D2, Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker, respectively, are the only two people credited with appearing in all 6 of the Star Wars movies. Daniels' C-3PO costume was precision engineered and fit very tightly. If he moved too much, the pieces of the suit would cut into him. On the first day of shooting, walking in the costume resulted in a great many scrapes, cuts, and abrasions, a persistent problem throughout the shoot. After Harrison Ford tested for the part of Han Solo, he had the edge for the role, though early in the project, Lucas had decided he didn't want to use anyone he had directed in the past. The potential candidate list included Kurt Russell and Christopher Walken, among others. Jodie Foster and Cindy Williams auditioned for the role of Princess Leia, along with Linda Pearl, Terry Nunn, and many others. Foster and Nunn were rejected because they were under 18. The character of Luke Skywalker went through his friends with Han Solo. Later, he evolved into the young man closer to the character we are familiar with, but his name was Luke Starkiller. Just before shooting began, Lucas decided that the name might remind people of murderers like Charlie Manson, who was responsible for killing stars, so the name was changed to Luke Skywalker. Charles Manson, Charlie Manson, Charles. The stormtroopers' weapons in Star Wars were retooled military weapons from the 1940s. Alright, I think that may be it for today. But that was very interesting. I'm gonna put the book away. I don't know if you guys can tell that I use like these huge paper clips to like separate the book because the categories are all separated. It's like all one category together. So I have these big paper clips so I know like where to turn to. So yeah. But we are plugging and chugging through this book. I'm not even really using there's like a Bible category, and I think I just like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be one thing if it was religion, but I don't want to just like spew facts about one religion. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But, thank you guys for watching. I am really tired. These videos always like really test me because with trivia I get to pause and like wait for you to answer, whereas with these I'm just talking, and it gets super tiring. So yeah. But thank you guys for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this facts video. I hope this gets some views. I feel like the facts videos have not been doing too well, but that's okay. I still like making them, and I think it kind of breaks up my content a little bit. Like, you know, I can't just do trivia videos or personal question videos, so I like having a little something else in there and doing some facts. Plus, I know people say like this is way easier to fall asleep to because I can't fall asleep when I'm like thinking about answers to things. But